Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. We are talking about the multidimensional approach to rapidly and radically heal and transform during and after narcissistic abuse cycles, right, into our authentic self, into our authentic power and becoming sovereign. Sovereign means I'm a sovereign source of my own life. I'm the creator of my own reality. Working with the divine, I am sovereign. I'm not able to be pulled and pushed by life and sucked into toxic cycles or exploited for my childhood wounds. By the way, everyone on the planet has childhood wounds. It's not a recipe for being targeted by a narcissist. It just means they're the things that they're going to exploit in you. So I want to talk about finding your power after narcissistic abuse, because the biggest thing you'll need to do here, right? I mean, in narcissistic abuse, we don't feel very powerful. We feel that the illusion is you become dependent on them. They're your source of love, validation, support, survival. That's the emotional body's reaction. So when they devalue or discard you, it can very intense feelings, right? But it is an illusion, right? So what they've done is they've taken you away from yourself. So the first thing in Sovereign, the first thing I teach people is self-focus. Come back to yourself. I touch my body a lot on these videos, in some of them in particular, because I put you in yourself. The narcissist takes you away from yourself. They are detached from their soul. You become disconnected from yours because what you need and want doesn't matter. You have to be shelled out to be what they need you to be. So it's your disconnection from self, right, that's causing the imbalance, that's causing you to feel disempowered because you're just not connected to yourself. So you've got to come home to you. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. You are, right, not what they've convinced you you are. They've purposely annihilated your sense of self. In Sovereign, I teach you that like self-esteem and self-love are not something we have to work on when we're sovereign, or in what I call self-focused, self-partnered, and self-sourcing, because they're side effects. If I'm not betraying my boundaries, my values, my standards, right, that's the biggest act of self-love. I'm in integrity. They take you out of integrity with you. So therefore, you don't know who you are anymore. All your boundaries have been crossed. You're living something that's not aligned with your values. One of the exercises in Sovereign is really going through what our values mean so that we can actually not just say them, but energetically hold them so we can't ever be taken away from self again. So the first thing you've got to do is come home. You've got to come back into your heart. People think after narcissistic abuse that it's going to be so hard for them to love. It's going to be so hard for them to find them. I promise you, you've always been in you. The easiest thing, the most innate thing for you is to love. Yeah, the most natural thing is for you to be in relationship with you. Yeah, you've just been taught otherwise and it feels terrible when you are. Yeah, so the first thing you've got to do is self-focus. How do I feel? I talk a lot about not the thing you're being taught in therapy a lot of the time, which is looking at why do I feel this way? It's not time for that. How do I feel? Without judgment. Yeah, this situation is intense. I need to go home. Go home. Stop judging yourself. Stop beating yourself up. Stop making yourself wrong. Self-focused. How do I feel? I feel like I need to lie down. Lie down. Yeah? If you can just get in sensory experiences with yourself. Now, there are some things that you can't change. You might say, I feel like I hate my job. Okay, cool, right? And I'm not saying walk out the door right now if you need that job. I'm saying good awareness, right? And then you get your body regulated and you can look at other things. And then you can look when you're neutral and you're not in an intense emotion as to why and what you need to do. Because sometimes we're just triggered and the whole world's going to trigger us. And sometimes we need a lot more introspection to look at, we do look at why, yeah? But we've got to look at why from a regulated space where we're actually being self-partnered, which means I'm my own best friend, I've got my own back, I trust myself, I trust my intuition. Again, the narcissist taught you not to trust yourself, so that I can actually look at things objectively, not from my wounds, not from what the narcissist is trying to make me think about myself, but from my truth. And that takes energetic strength, yeah? And again, the end of the Sovereign program is about manifestation so that we get to create the life we want. But you can only do that when we've done the first stages, which is I'm self-focused, I'm self-partnered, I'm self-sourcing, and now I get to choose because I know it's coming from a pure place. My desires are from pure desire that God's putting in my heart to desire. They're not from ego, what I think I should have, or coming from my wound of what I think is wrong with me, or a trigger. Yeah, I don't walk out my job because I'm triggered today. Yeah, I learn how to regulate my body and look at what I want in my life. I reconnect with myself. Now, reconnecting with self, I do a lot of heart healing in the Sovereign program, is getting back in touch with our hearts, healing our hearts. Because if we walk around the planet in a defense mechanism, protecting ourselves from danger, we're not in touch with the thing that will actually create the best life for us, which is our true desires. With the narcissist, you're not allowed to have desires. You've got to fit into them. Your dreams are destroyed. But desire is the fuel on this planet that will actually get you the life you want. When you know how to sit in that energy, right? It actually gives you purpose again. That your desires are meant for you. They're put in your heart from the divine, not the ego ones of like, oh, she's got a car, I want a car. Not the keeping up with the Joneses. What is right for you? And that's in your heart. But most of us have got a bit of heart healing to do because we've closed our hearts. It's too painful to open our hearts. So when I teach you how to regulate and deal with pain, yeah, pain is part of the human experience. Suffering is not required. Suffering is staying in pain and trauma. That's what we've got to learn how to heal. Then it's like we're not living our life in a defense mechanism, so we're willing to be wholehearted and wholeheartedly choose our lives, choose ourselves, and we're not in just a defense mechanism, so we're pushing everything and everyone away because we don't know how to protect ourselves. So these are all the things that we're doing in the Sovereign program. Get in May if you can. And listen to what I'm talking about on the channel because it's a staged approach. You're doing everything correct. Like your body, it has wisdom. The fact that we shut down and protect ourselves is a good thing when we don't know how to healthfully, right, create safety in our lives. So that we get isolated by the narcissist, but then we isolate and we do defend ourselves and we're in this protection zone. That's a necessary part of this process until we learn better tools, right? But then when I teach you, and when you learn those tools and you go through your own ascension and evolution, then the job is to keep opening again, yeah? Being willing to actually have a fulfilling life. You can't skip a stage in this process, but it doesn't have to take a long time. Sovereign's 6 modules, right? And just keep listening here. Things will change. Your consciousness will raise. Because when you're playing for something more than just getting through life, when you're playing for the things that you actually came on the planet to experience, when you're playing for a quality of life that is not defined by what you've been through, it's what you're meant for, then you will find your power to be in the game. The hardest parts of my life was to feel my life was over, that my body was degenerating, that I would find no way out of it. I had to drop that story and find a way to connect with potential again, connect with desire again, connect with the truth again, right? Which was not that this is the end of my story. So what you're experiencing can be very intense, but there's still a way, and it's the small steps we do to come back home into us first, self-focused first, on the smallest things. The smallest things start giving you a different relationship with yourself. The smallest things start getting you in touch with your body again. So a lot of us are shutting down as well because we've got so much unprocessed. Guys, sorry. We've got so much unprocessed pain and trauma that we don't want to be in our bodies because we don't know how to process what it is. I talk a lot about the emotional backlash that often happens when people leave a narcissist, because when they're not in the fight and flight response, all the emotions, the unprocessed emotions, the suppressed emotions hit us, right? So when I teach you on this channel about the tools and the regulation of the body coming into ourselves, it enables the body, hang on. Guys, come on. Archie, you know, go on, my good boys. It enables the body to not go through such like intense experiences after we leave, and that actually we start regulating on a daily basis, right? We actually start making room for ourselves, self-focused, self-partnered on a daily basis so that we are dealing with our emotions, which means they don't build up. You can't bypass your emotional body. Just like you can't bypass going to the toilet and relieving your bowels, you know? If you do, you're bunged up and you're going to have a problem. This is the emotional side, right? So You don't want to set yourself such hard measures where you're trying to go from despair to joy. That doesn't work. What you're looking for is a baby step that will take you on a different trajectory. And the biggest thing you can do is start focusing on yourself. How do I feel? Not why am I feeling it? Not that I'm wrong for feeling it. Not that I shouldn't be feeling it. That's later. Later, when you're regulated, you've processed things, and then you're looking at your life and saying, right, now what do I desire? What do I want to experience? Who would I need to become in order to be an angelic match to that? Well, I'd need to be comfortable with going on dates again. Okay, now I can work on why I've got difficulty doing that, and I can start making small steps towards building my confidence again. Most times confidence comes from doing something over and over again, and then we know that we can do it. And confidence is a fleeting thing, right? Courage is more powerful. When you've got courage, then you're going to go for things and, be willing to try. Because when you get really good at something, the chances are you want to try something else, yeah? So, our lack of confidence isn't that important, right? Our choosing courage to be brave is far more important. Confidence is something that we get, and then someone can knock us down if we have a bad experience. It's a fleeting thing that we work on. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying that we overestimate how important it is, because when you're brave, you'll get through most things, right? So focus on being brave. Am I brave enough? Not to push myself. And again, when you start taking new moves and doing new things, again, it's a good thing to learn what I'm teaching you, because you don't want to push yourself too far outside your capacity. Otherwise, you'll re-traumatize yourself. So when you do get regulated and you're sovereign, it's like, let me at the world again. Now I've got to be very conscious of how I'm feeling, not what I want to feel, right? I want to feel ready. Well, am I ready? Not yet. It's too scary. Fear is normal, a bit of fear when we do something new. Fear just means, we don't know about this, right? But we want to be in our emotional body enough to know, no, that it is too far for me right now. I'm not ready to go on that date. I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm working towards it. I'm not quite there. I'm closer, but I'm not there. Trust where you are. Push yourself to an edge when we get regulated, but not too far. The baby steps change our lives. If we push ourselves too far outside our energetic capacity in any area of our lives, we'd have gone too far and we re-traumatize ourselves, and then we make an energetic decision that we can't do what we want. You can. Sometimes for you, if you've got chronic fatigue, getting out of bed, making a cup of tea, having a moment of bliss or a moment of not pain, or, count it. Count the baby steps. Stop looking for the big thing, right? Because it's how we navigate this journey that defines everything. And it's how we stop defining ourselves by our past, by our trauma and what we've been through that defines everything. You don't have to be confident. You don't have to be healed yet. You have to be brave. Yeah? Brave enough to decide that this is not the end of your story. This is not where it ends. This is not even close to where it ends. And you are not here to focus on how impossible it is. I was in such impossible situations. I can show you, and I've done this anyway for years with people in business. I've taken them into visions and dreams that are not possible. They're not logical, right? It doesn't need to be. So your idea of cause and effect is often swayed by what society has told you, and it's got nothing to do with what's possible, right? Your body's designed to heal. Your dreams are meant for you. And if you work with the divine, with God, your source, creator, higher power, intelligence, there is nothing that's big or small. Nothing. It's just all things. It's just all whatever it is. I think there's scriptures on that where it's like, we in our human mind think it's harder to, make $1 million than make $1. But in the divine, in God's mind, it's just another thing. It doesn't have that same gravitas. It's just that we've got ideas of cause and effect, what it would take, what we've learned, what we've believed about it. Doesn't mean it's true. Yeah? It's just what we've known so far. Yeah? And yet there are people who are exceptions to every rule, and you get to choose to be one. And if you're here, you obviously are one, because I don't think you'd be watching my channel if it wasn't meant for you. I doubt it. This universe is full of synchronicities. There's no accidents, and there's no, You must have asked to transform your life. And you must have asked for more than just surviving narcissistic abuse. And you must know that your life can be beautiful, else I don't think you'd be here. And so here you are, right? And so therefore, to me, it's inevitable that you're going to go on and create a life beyond your wildest dreams if you want to. And beyond your wildest dreams is not comparable, My bliss moments are cuddling my puppies on a Sunday sometimes. That's blissful to me. Yeah, it's what's right for you, not other people, what they think of as big and small, and not what you decide is too big or small for God to give you, because God doesn't judge the size of it in our human context. It's just, is it your desire? Have you got love for it? Have you got energy for it? Desire is the energy of love, not want, not need, not lack, just love. You can love things into your life, but you've got to have your energy clean. You've got to be regulated first so you can open your heart. It's safe to open when you're ready. I do teach this in Sovereign. When you can open your heart, and then you get to receive. You get to receive because that energy that you can use to create in your life, which is love, it does amazing things, right? So if you want to join Sovereign, tomorrow's the last day for the payment plan, because I can only let you in the group, and we're going to start the official trainings May 15th, but the warm-up starts May 1st. Once you've paid up in full, that process is extraordinary. It takes you through these principles. Yeah, self-focus, self-partnering, self-sourcing, source to self of love, validation, approval, security, support, so that you're not ever going to attach to people in the same way again that would put you in those toxic cycles. Then we go into heart healing, deep trauma release. I get you energetically ready for that first. I don't just dive in with the heart healing because it's too much for you to take to start with. You get you energetically strong, and then we go into boundary standards and values, and then manifestation, advanced manifestation techniques, right? Which I've taught people for years in quantum physics. Guys, everyone's throat chakra is very open. I've taught people for years, but what blocked my manifestations was not understanding trauma. It's so misunderstood. There are so many great teachings on it, but when you don't understand the component of trauma, then we don't understand why those principles don't always work for people. Yeah, that's what's missing. It's not taking account sometimes of our emotional body, which is an important, that's why I say multi-dimensional approach, spiritually, emotional body, mental, psychological body, and physical one. We've got this overemphasis on the mental, and that's not the thing. Your mental body is really to deal with the past and to collect data, and then you get to program it. We're not taught how to even use our minds. In fact, our emotional body is more of our guidance system in this world. So there's so many layers to this, and I'm excited to share what I know and help you create not just surviving, not just healing, although that's part of it, but a beautiful life, the life you actually wanted to experience. Yeah? No matter how hard it's been, no matter what you've been through, no matter how old you are, no matter how sick you feel, you know, all of it is transmutable. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.